Welcome to the series where I test out money-making methods from the OSRS Wiki. Feel free to leave suggestions on which moneymaker you'd like to see next. And also, if you didn't already know, I have a nice playlist that I've created that has all of the previous moneymakers that I've already tried, so go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. With that being said, let's get into the video. So for today's video, we will be killing Ents in the wilderness. I figured it was time to do another moneymaker that had some sort of risk to it. And since I've never killed these Ents for money, I thought it'd be a nice time to try it out just to see how good it is. The only time that I've ever killed Ents was whenever I was doing Wilderness Slayer. And when I was doing that, I did not bother chopping the logs that would fall after. Now, there are some Ents that are located in the Woodcutting Guild. I personally have never seen them because I've never gone down there to look, but apparently there's Ents at the Woodcutting Guild, which is a safe zone. You don't have to worry about getting PK'd. But I do believe that the Ents in the wilderness drop twice as many logs as the ones in the guild. So essentially you'll be making double if you go into the wilderness. Since this is a PVM moneymaker, the gear setup might differ depending on your levels, but I do recommend having 75 woodcutting at least so that you can maximize the amount of money that you can make here. 75 will basically give you the ability to chop magic logs from the Ents. And that is where most of the money comes from in this moneymaker. As for combat stats, the higher the better, but as you can see here, I am bringing a whip. I chose to go the melee route just because I didn't want to spend any extra money on supplies, but range would be faster and you could do this with either a blowpipe or maybe even a ruined crossbow with some rod bolts. But for now, I'm just going the melee route. I'm bringing black d'hide because it's a very good tanking armor and it's very cheap. I'm also bringing snakeskin boots, black d'hide vams, some diary rewards. I'm bringing the Rada's Blessing 4 for the prayer slot and the Explorer's Ring 4. Those will just give me, well, the prayer bonus will help me out whenever I'm praying against either PKers or Ents, and the ring will give me some stamina boosts if I do need it. I'm wearing the Helm of Nate's Knot. I'm bringing a Dragon Defender, and of course I have my max cape just because, well, I always bring that. As for getting there, I will be using the Obelisk to teleport to level 19 Wilderness, but you can also use a Burning Amulet and teleport to the Chaos Temple, which is also pretty close to where the Ents are. Again, I'm just using the Obelisk because I have one in my house, and because it's free, so I'm saving more money on supplies as well. And as you can see here, we're already getting attacked by an Ent, but this is not the Ent that we want to be attacking. We're pretty deep in the wilderness here, so if we were to get attacked, it would be a very far run to the safe zone. Where we are going, we're going to be in around 10 wilderness, so you won't have to tank that far. And you'll actually be able to see me run for my life because we do get attacked during this video. And I didn't talk about it before, but for my inventory setup, I am bringing a super combat potion, which isn't really necessary because as I do the calculations of how much money I spent on supplies, that'll pretty much be the bulk of the amount of money that I spent. Besides that, I'm bringing 3 super restores, 12 Ceridome and Bruise, some sharks, and then I am also bringing a stamina potion, the dragon axe for cutting the Ents after I kill them, and a one-click teleport, which is the grand seed pod. I'm also bringing a looting bag to store the logs. I thought if I had it open that the logs would automatically go in there after I've put them in there for the first time, but to my surprise, it didn't work out that way. I'm also setting my right-click options to hidden for the player attack options, just so we don't get skull tricked. Essentially, you really don't want to be out here clicking on players and fighting back, especially in the gear that I brought, but just, be wary. Going back to the looting bag predicament problems that I was having, as you can see here, I dropped some shark because the logs don't go into your looting bag even if you've already placed them in there, even if the bag is open. So unless you feel like dropping your sharks after every kill to pick up the logs and store them in your bag, it's probably not worth it to bring it. Really, the only use that you would get out of the bag is for, like I said, dropping your sharks after every kill, or for the bird's nest, because these Ents can drop bird's nests. But if you're like me and you want to fully AFK this moneymaker as most as you can, you probably shouldn't bring as many sharks as I did. Just leave 6 inventory slots open, 5 for the different logs you'll get, and 6 because you need an empty inventory slot to even get the logs. Even if you already have placeholders for all the logs, you still need an empty slot to chop at the logs that fall. I don't know why this is. At first I thought it was for the possibility of getting a bird's nest to go into your inventory, but when you get the bird's nest, they don't even go into your inventory. They just drop to the ground and you have a certain amount of time to pick them up, so I don't know what the point of that is. Whenever I was killing these Ents, I kind of tried to kill them in like certain safe spots next to trees so that I could cut the log without having another Ent attack me. You could either do this or go further down the path and kill some different Ents that spawn further away from each other, but I wanted to be as close to the safe zone as possible. And if your auto attack options are set to off, you can actually still chop the Ent that you killed even if you're being hit by another one, which is what I did some of the times. And you can just activate protect from melee and you'll be fine. Of course, if you decide to go range, the safe spot methods will actually work even more because you won't have to worry about taking damage from other Ents. Only the ones that decide to attack you whenever you are chopping another one. And here we can see that someone has logged in close to us. I was getting ready to log out or teleport away. I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but whenever I hovered over them, I saw their combat level and I was like, okay, we're safe. But part of me still believed that that wasn't their main account. I had a feeling that they could possibly try to log in underneath me, so as you saw there, or if you didn't see there, I used render self to see if anyone logged in underneath me while I was chopping that Ent. And I felt that way because he was standing there for a very long time, like too long, so I was very suspicious of him. And not to my surprise, a few minutes later, and I get teleblocked immediately. He lands it, no splash, so I couldn't teleport out, and I quickly ran south, activated Protect from Mage, drank my Serum and Bruise to heal to a high health, and even while I was brewed down and my magic level was lowered, he still could not land any freezes on me, so we were able to get away fairly easily. And I'm pretty sure it was the same guy because the username on the account was very similar to the first account that we saw. I was very lucky to see him also because I was AFKing pretty hard at this. It's really easy to just not pay attention to your computer when you're doing this method because you spend so much time chopping the Ents that you kill. But luckily I was looking at the screen whenever I saw the white dot appear, so we were able to escape with our lives and our loot. And also, I just want to say that Black D'hide is very overpowered for its price. As you can see there, he did land the TB on his first try, but he couldn't land any freezes on us afterwards, so Black D'hide is definitely a good investment, and definitely overpowered. I did have my quick prayers set to Augury, Protect from Mage, and Protect Item, but I guess in the moment I totally forgot about it, and I did not use the quick prayers. Instead, I chose to heal first because I didn't know if I was on a low HP or not, because while I was killing these, there were a couple times whenever I was sitting at like low 40s, and I just wanted to make sure that I was healed up. So just make sure that you do use your quick prayers because they will help. And the reason I activate Augury is because it actually gives you magic defense, which will help you against being frozen. And of course, Protect Item is a must to protect, you know, your loot and stuff. Really the only thing that I'm gonna lose that is worth something if I do die is the supplies, but more than likely I'll lose them just from having to use all of them. Let's say if I got frozen multiple times on my way to the safe zone. So in terms of gear, you really don't lose a lot of money. I think the total gear that I was losing was maybe 15k, but I probably had like over 100k in supplies. So besides that, you shouldn't be risking too much. And another thing that could help is if you turn on your game sounds so that you can hear whenever someone tries to teleblock you or ice barrage you. I had them off, but again, luckily I was looking at the screen when it happened, so I didn't get caught off guard, I guess you could say. I mean, I did get TB'd, but it could have been a whole lot worse. So when you're out here, make sure you don't AFK too hard because there are PKers that still roam around here from time to time. And with that being said, we are approaching the end of our 1 hour of killing Ents. And I gotta say, what an exciting 1 hour it was. Maybe for a future video, we'll be the PKer and check out Ents to see if anyone's there. But I kinda suck at PKing, so maybe not. But anyways, we can now do a price check on the logs that we got and the bird's nest that we got. From all the loot, you can see that we got 554k. I'll be sure to factor in the cost of supplies that we used. We did get attacked during this 1 hour, so my supply cost might be higher than your supply cost whenever you choose to do this. Overall, I'd say it's a decent moneymaker. It's pretty AFK, but that can also be very dangerous because it is in the wilderness and you really don't want to AFK in the wilderness for too long. As for woodcutting XP, I'd say that you're better off just chopping regular trees, but again, this is a moneymaker, not really a training method. You do get a small amount of woodcutting XP, but really you're just here for the money. Whether you want to risk some loot for being in the wilderness, I'll leave it up to you. The moneymaker might not be for everyone. You might see the total profit and decide that it's not worth it, but I'll leave the choice up to you. And as you can see here, we finished off with around 555,000 GP from 1 hour of killing Ents. And we didn't die, so that's always a plus. But now we can go ahead and calculate the total profit we made from the 1 hour. If we subtract the costs, which were 16,840 GP from the amount of money that we made, which was 555,225 GP, we get a grand total profit of 538,385 GP. I'd say it's a pretty decent amount for how AFK it is, but again, it is in the wilderness, so it might not be worth it to you to risk your loot, even though it's not really that much that you're risking. But nonetheless, I thought it was a pretty interesting moneymaker to try out. And as for how much XP we got, here are the XP values that I got after the 1 hour of killing Ents. Not anything too crazy, but again, this is a moneymaker, not really a training method. I just want to say thanks for checking out the video, and if you did enjoy, please consider giving it a thumbs up and possibly a subscription. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next episode.